everybody, it's Amy Rich with amyrich.net. I hope you don't think I'm crazy today as I share this card with you, but I was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest, and it was actually when I was looking for a kids project for a classroom that I do some art projects in. And I was inspired by something I saw, and this is what we've got. So I'm starting with a piece of designer series paper that is from the host selection from the annual catalog. And I am going to do some measuring and some marking. So we're starting with the piece that is cut 5.5 by 8.5, or 8.5 by 5.5, however you want to look at it. And then I'm gonna, like I said, do some measuring. So first of all, we're going to take our ruler and measure in 2 3/4 inches from the left-hand edge. And I'm going to mark that. Just make a tick mark with my pencil. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to go at 2 3/4 from the bottom right hand corner this time. And just give that a tick mark. Then we're going to measure up from, we really only need to do one corner. So I'm going to do it from the right hand side, and I'll kind of explain that, why I chose this side a little bit later. So I'm going to measure up 2 1/4 inches and make another tick mark. And then I will also measure down from the upper left and the upper right. I'm going to measure down 1 3/4 inch and make a tick mark, and same thing over here. So these are from the top edges down. Okay, and so I've got all these little tick marks showing up here, and then I'm gonna really lightly as I possibly can, connect these two 1 3/4 inch marks here across the top, just real lightly. And I can always go back and erase that, which I will want to do at some point. And then I am going to measure in 2 1/4 inches from that right hand side again. Okay, so I'm going to measure that right there, and we're going to do the same thing from this side, 2 1/4 inches. Okay, so now I am going to do a little fold here, except I'm not going to crease it. I'm just going to hold these two edges together, and I am going to, remember this is 2 1/4 inches up from the bottom right hand edge. So I'm going to cut from there up to this point over here, and I am going to do that at kind of a curve, and it's going to be a freehand curve. Don't be too hard on yourself. In fact, there we go. Mine isn't super smooth, but it'll do the trick, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and then what we're going to do is go from that mark and do another kind of an arc to that top section. So I'm going to get my SNIPS in here, and really SNIPS is one of the best options for this because you can get right up to the point. And I want to get up here and then just get this curve at the top. All right, so what we've got here is this interesting shape of a card. Now you can see the top got kind of flat, so I would kind of like to do something about that. So I'm just going to close this up again and just take a little off. So it's kind of an inexact science, but here's what it looks like when we've cut off our corners. The other thing I want to do now is go back to this side over here. I'm going to score from this corner now down to this tick mark, and this corner to this tick mark. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer and line those up here in my cutting groove or my scoring groove of my trimmer. And then making sure to grab the scoring blade and not the cutting blade. I'm just going to give it a little score. And you know, as always, you want to be a little bit more careful when it's designer series paper, not to push too hard, because you can put a hole in it if you push it too hard. All right, so now I've got all of the things that I need here, and I'm going to take my pencil eraser then and just erase that line. So make sure you have a good eraser so that you can get rid of that line, and any of these other marks that you want to get rid of, go ahead and take care of that right away as well. Okay, so then we're going to fold in our sides. I'm going to do the right side first and then the left. It doesn't really matter. And now you can see we've got this really cute fun fold coming together. But we're not done yet. I have cut 3 strips of old olive cardstock that measure 1/4 inch by 8.5. And you don't need them that long, and you'll see why shortly. But then I'm going to take my multi-purpose glue, and I am going to put the first one down the center, about 1 inch from the top. And then you can see I have a lot left over here at the end. You could probably get by with, no, it's not going to work. I was going to say you could probably use that as my next piece, but I don't think so. It's not quite long enough. All right, so then we're going to go back to the next one, and we're just going to cross that over. And it's just going to go across it and about 1 inch from that, you know, upper right hand curve there. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So again, I saw this idea as I was looking for a project for some kids, and I just thought, oh, I could totally do that with our supplies from the catalog. So here we are. All right, so now I'm going to just snip those off. And those are going to be our stems for some flowers. Now, using the Tulip Builder Punch from our annual catalog, I punched out 3 petal pink tulips plus 6 of these petals. And so now I'm going to take, I always call this the skinny end and this the fat end. But now I'm going to take my multi-purpose glue, and I am going to adhere this petal down at the bottom of the flower. And I want to leave the top without adhesive so that I can curl that up a little bit so it has some dimension. And you can do that before you glue it down. So now you see how for that first one, the skinny part of that petal is on top and the fat part is on the bottom. Now that skinny part curves that way. Now we're going to flip it. So here's how this one is. We're going to flip it, and we're going to put that petal on the other side. And we'll do the same thing to the other 2. Okay, now we're going to bring in our card. We're going to add these flowers to our card. Now the ones on the right and the left stems can curve a little and stick out the side. So we'll do the right one and then the left one the same way on the other side. And then this one will go straight down the center. And it will overlap maybe just a hair. Cute. Then we'll add some leaves. Now for the leaves, you can see that it uses the same punch as the petals. And this time, I'm going to use the skinny part at the bottom. And I'm going to put the first one up here at the top. And then one on this side. Making sure to not overlap where this folds on the side here. And then this one will go on the other side. Okay, and now for the sentiment. I use this fantastic new punch from the mini catalog, and I punched that out of Petal Pink cardstock. And then using my Stylish Shapes dies, I cut out a little square. And my new favorite sentiment stamp set is Very Best Occasions. This is also from the July to December mini catalog. And for this one, I love the You Make My Life Happier. I think this would be a great card for you to make for your husband to give to you. Genius idea, right? So we're gonna take the Petal Pink ink and stamp You Make My Life Happier on our little square. Totally crooked, but we're going with it. I should have tested out the stamp to see how it was going to stamp before I actually stamped it. And then we're going to add that. Isn't that great? I love these two together. They're fabulous. And then we're going to just put that right here over the top using some Stampin' Dimensionals. And then we can close this up. And then we're going to add some of our old olive ribbon, and it comes in a pack with Sahara sand. And I think this is perfect for this because it really coordinates well with the colors that I've chosen for this card. We'll just tie that in a little bow. And trim that down. Now keep in mind not to trim it too far because you are going to need to tie it again every time it's opened. If you are concerned about that ribbon falling off, go ahead in the back and add a mini glue dot or two underneath that ribbon, and that will just hold it on so that it doesn't slide off. Super cute card. Now, on my blog, you will find a template that looks like this, and this will help you to see where I made all my score marks. And this top part, keep in mind that that is kind of a freehand cut. So you will maybe need to practice that. And what I would suggest is to make one that you like out of typing paper and then trace it onto some lightweight cardboard that you can use as a template if you'd like. And you can see here that I also did a scalloped one. When I made my template, I first created a scallop for mine, and I would do that the same way. I would fold these over, do my cut, and then instead of just going straight around to make one big half circle, you could do these scalloped parts to make that a little bit more interesting. So it's totally up to you as you play around to see what you like the best. But I just think it's such a fun card, and really not too terribly hard if you follow the instructions. So I hope you've enjoyed this super cute card today. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me or post it in the comments here. And like I said, you can head to my blog for that template and just some information on colors and sizes and things. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. And I will see you here back soon for another video tutorial.